Hello everybody, Virtual Rook here, back with more VR news for August 23rd of 2024, so let's get right to it. Much like last time, I'd like to start with a couple of games that I'm really excited for, so let's start there. First up is All On Board, made by The Game Kitchen, who also created the Blasphemous series, but this is their first journey into the VR realm, and they're doing it with my favorite thing, board games. I love board games, and this is looking to be a fantastic series of board games that you can play with your friends or by yourself. Only one player will have to buy the board game for anyone to then play that board game with them, and so far it looks like the lineup is Rallyman GT, Escape the Dark Castle, The Hunger, Terraforming Mars, one of my personal favorites, Istanbul, and the Binding of Isaac board game. And they're still planning on getting a bunch more board games lined up in the future, so definitely I think this is a title to look out for if you're a big fan of board games and just hanging out with your friends in VR. Next up we have Orion Drift, another game by the studio Another Axion, who are the creators of Gorilla Tag. This seems to be a very ambitious game where you will be on a space station with 200 other players. You can think of the space station kind of like its own server, and the space station apparently will have different kinds of games on each floor. You'll have your usual Gorilla Tag game, but then you can also go and play things like pickleball with friends, golf, some kind of rocket ball game, I'm guessing a lot like Rocket League, but with your hands instead. You will also be able to make your own space station, so create your own server, with your own rules in place, and I think with your own games, I think you'll be able to kind of shake up the formulas of each of the games. It sounds really cool. And even better, it controls exactly like Gorilla Tag. It's just now instead of being a gorilla, you're going to be a little space robot, which I think is adorable. I think the gorilla was adorable too, but I know that a lot of people really like this movement style in VR games. And then last but not least, as far as VR video games, I know last week I showed Behemoth, which is a AAA title coming from meta funding that I was really excited for, but then almost immediately after my last video, Alien Rogue Incursion released an official gameplay trailer, which is so awesome because originally we only had teaser trailers of this game, and it's looking really cool. So let's just take a quick look at that. And then speaking of Meta and Quest, we actually just got news that the App Lab is officially dead. Rest in peace. But it's a good thing, not a bad thing. You see, the Quest store is changing names to the Meta Horizon store, which I think's ridiculous. I haven't even tried Horizon yet. Can you try Horizon? I have no idea. But the point is it's getting a new name, a new facelift, and the App Lab will be part of it now. It won't be called the App Lab, it'll just be the Meta Horizon store. And this is huge for indie developers and stuff, because if you didn't know, the main Quest store was something you had to do a bunch of extra stuff to get onto before. It was a very closed garden. So a lot of indie devs would just go to the App Lab and post there. But the App Lab is something that, if I remember correctly, you have to sideload the apps that you get off of it onto your Quest. So a lot of regular users weren't even seeing all of these indie dev games. Well, that's no more. Now everybody's games will be on the Meta Horizon store. I really think that this is a big move because it's better for everybody. There will be big titles, there will be more games, there will be more indie development because now they know that they're going to get the exposure that they deserve on the Horizon store. So I think everybody wins in this case. I'm really excited for this news. I think it's a really smart move by Meta, who has been doing a lot of stuff recently to open up their entire ecosystem more anyways, which I think is just great. But now let's swap over to focusing more on hardware. We're still gonna stick with Quest though. Kind of bad news, maybe. The Quest Pro 2 has been officially canceled. It was going to have a 2027 release, and it sounds like the main things that we knew about it, it was going to focus on face and eye tracking and also use those gosh darn codec avatars that Meta's been talking about for ages at this point, but we still don't have any actual use case for. But I don't think that you should get like crazy focus on this, and Boz brought this up himself, but basically all that we really lost was a prototype, and as he states, we have many prototypes in development at all times, but we don't bring all of them to production. We move forward with some, we pass on others. Decisions like this happen all the time, and stories based on chatter about one individual decision will never give the real picture. So yeah, like, we're not losing any of the technology. They just were prototyping and making something, so like, whatever we thought was going to be part of the Quest Pro 2, we're just going to see that technology in other VR headsets by them. It's just going to change names and become something different. I wouldn't worry about it. We're still going to get crazy awesome technology. I think this was just a headline grab by a lot of VR news websites, because it's kind of easy to be like, oh, they canceled a VR headset. They didn't cancel anything. This was just a prototype that they're not moving forward with. Don't worry. This isn't a VR's dead situation. It's gonna move to different things. But let's wrap up this news segment with some really cool Pico 4 Ultra news. That's right, we did in fact get the trailer for the Pico 4 Ultra, and it's looking really cool. We were mostly right about the things that we had guessed the headset would have, but there were a couple of cool things that we should still mention. The controllers are in fact ringless. There's no longer rings on them. Thank goodness. I want the entire industry to move away from the tracking rings. I think that it was important whenever tracking wasn't great. Now that tracking's pretty good, let's just drop it. I hate smashing my hand into walls with the rings or smacking my hands against the rings whenever I'm playing like Beat Saber. But even cooler is that we also saw that they're going to have full body tracking. So there will be feet trackers that come with the headset now that will track your feet and work in VR chat and other games, which is really cool. I want to see that as well with more VR headsets, because I think full body tracking, I don't think you should always have to use it because it's kind of annoying to put on, but I do think that the option should be there and it should just come with your headset. So that way, if you want to do full body tracking, then awesome. As far as taking shots at the Meta headsets that are currently out, it really looks like they're pushing for a way more realistic AR setup in this Pico 4 Ultra, so that pass-through is really going to be a selling point for this headset. I think it's pretty cool. What do you think of the Pico 4? I mean, I'm never going to be able to use it because I'm in the US, but yeah, if you're not in the US, do you think you'll get it? Thank you so much for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this week's VR news. I'm enjoying making these. They take a little bit of time, but they're fun. If you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe, because we're almost at 1,000. It would really mean the world to me. And if you want to support me on Ko-Fi, maybe go here. Go to this right here. You can buy me a coffee, you know, and if we hit $100, I'm gonna buy a maid outfit and I'm going to wear it during a horror game VR stream. It should be interesting. Anyway, I'll see you next week. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a great rest of your day.